What up? What up? What up? How's everybody doing? It's another week of Just a Fan podcast. What's up? What's up?
Let's get it.
Hey, this week we're covering the NFC North. That means we're covering the Detroit Lions, who won the division this past season. The Minnesota Vikings, who is going through a quarterback change, but gave the wide receiver contract extension. Chicago Bears, who is going through a change. They have a new quarterback who they believe will lead their franchise to the promised land in the future. And the Green Bay Packers, let's see if Jordan Love can be another quarterback who sat on the bench for a long time and develop into a Super Bowl champ, maybe even a Hall of Famer. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. But anyway, I know y'all you get it says right here, I can't stay retired, okay? I can't stay retired. Coach Williams, I cannot stay retired. And I can't stay retired because what happened was 2 weeks ago when we first started doing this series, I was on here and I made predictions. Well, Eric last week told me when I was in the green room that I had to continue to make predictions. So I said, well, I might as well just be on the show for the next 6 weeks and do my predictions. So
there we go.
I will be on here this week and the next 5 shows. Doing these predictions, but I can't stay retired, man. So anyway, y'all know me, Coach Williams, the Wildcat quarterback that runs this thing, the NFL Encyclopedia, that direction, who just hopped on Trish TV, the quarterback of the show. Here you go, right here, boom. There you go. Steve White down below, the inventor of the show. What's up?
What's up? What's up?
Panel 316, diagonal down from me. The good guy with the black hat. So, Steve, go ahead and introduce our guest, please.
Yes, we have a special guest to speak on the NFC North and his team, what's going on in the division. My brother, we've had many draft parties. Former college football player, Nate Parliament. Let's bring him on in. Welcome, Nate.
Hey, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Welcome, man.
Steve, I don't know where you got it switched up. I've never played college football. I played a tiny school, high school.
I thought you said D3.
Oh, man. Unless I was lying to you, but no, not at all.
Well, organized football.
Yeah. I know a little bit. I can't play much. I know a little bit.
He still played regardless.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Justin Jefferson got a new contract extension. I believe that was Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Turn the wide receiver market on his heel.
Major contract extension. What are the numbers? What are the numbers?
135.
It's $35 million a year on average.
So it's $35 million a year over 4 years, so $140 million contract.
Yeah.
I think $110 million.
110 guaranteed.
Guaranteed, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, man, he earned it. He's had production.
What up, Cleve?
You said what?
No, I was telling Cleve, what's up?
Oh yeah. What's up to the viewers? Now he's got production, man. I think he is in that draft class, that tier. He's tier 1, obviously. Team's not that great, but he's been a top performer, man. In my opinion, I think he's earned it. I'll be curious to see how his production is this year without Kirk Cousins being there.
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins loves to throw. He loves giving targets to his number 1 and his tight end. So hopefully he matches it, but it doesn't matter right now because he got paid, man, and he's earned it. I mean, he's a baller.
Well, okay, so I'm sorry, let me cut you off right there. I think the system, the way O'Connell, who's now the head coach, he's going to continue to get his targets. Now, how good are those targets going to look when they come his direction? And I'm not saying Kirk Cousins was a world beater because he wasn't, but I think there's a drop off at quarterback play from a Kirk Cousins to, I think, who is it, Sam Darnold that's out there now?
So. Sam Darnold.
So he's going to get his targets because Kevin O'Connell wants those targets to go to Jefferson.
Yeah.
But what it's going to look like, it's going to be completely different. Justin Jefferson was the best player on that team since he cussed out Kirk Cousins. That was 2020 rookie season, and everybody could hear him because there was no crowd noise because of COVID. So as soon as he cussed out Kirk Cousins, he immediately became. I'm sorry, and I know everybody's laughing, but they know it's the truth. They know it's the truth. So that's when he became the best player on the team immediately, and he's the face of the franchise. He deserved a contract. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with anything that you're saying about him getting that deal. My thing is, I'm not so much looking at his deal as how it, does he deserve it or this, that, and the third. My thing is the fallout from this deal and how it affects the wide receiver market. And, if you follow, the NFL closely, if you're paying attention, there have been a dozen memes and different things on social media talking about, there's like the one, I know you've all seen it with one dog in one car, he looking straight ahead, and you got the other dog in the other car looking at him.
Yeah.
It's like, this is how CeeDee Lamb's looking at Jerry Jones right now after the Justin Jefferson contract, and I mean, you got 3 top tier receivers. And when I say top tier, I do recognize that some are better than others, but they're all in the same tier. So you have
who you got?
Who I think is the best I keep saying Jordan, Justin Jefferson. But in that same tier, you have a CeeDee Lamb, you have a Jamar Chase, and you have a Brandon Ayuk, who are basically 1,000-yard receivers. They made one of the all-pro teams, whether first or second, and they are the primary receiving threat for their teams. And it's like they looked at that deal and was like, hey.
We're not just we're not just primary receiving threats. I mean, legit WR1s, because you guys know me. Listen, CD just got there. I'm gonna just say it. In my opinion, he just got to that tier. I'm glad he's there, but yeah, I mean, it speaks a lot to that tier, man. And he said the market for that tier, and we're gonna see what happens, man. I mean, Nate, like your division, man. What do you think about that for the receiver market in your division?
Well, see, here's the difference between the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys is that we get our guys locked up early. So Amon-Ra, we already got that set up. We got him locked up, and knowing that, days later, AJ Brown's got a deal. Now Justin Jefferson's got a deal. So, he was the highest paid wide receiver for a minute. And then, I like that we were locking up our guys early.
Yeah.
It seems like, you've got Dak, who's going to be looking for a deal. You've got CD looking for a deal. And both of them we already got our QB. Well, Goff, for what he is, we got that extension done too. So
yeah.
And y'all got Penei Sewell locked in too.
Yeah, the pillars. It's like that meme though, where it's the 3 dragons and there's the 2 real mean ones, and then just like the real goofy looking one off on the side.
Yeah,
like that's Jared Goff. Like, listen, he's a good quarterback. He will work for us. Dan Campbell said you're good enough for Detroit, and I think that's true. But he looks like a mouth breather, man. I don't know. There's something about him.
But Nate, you make a good point that he works for Detroit, because if he goes to another offense, another team that asks him to really put the team on his back, then you're going to get Jared Goff that we saw in the Super Bowl that lost to New England, where he froze. No. He froze on those two passes.
No. I'm gonna give Jared Goff.
Steve. Jared Goff froze on those 2 passes.
I'm not talking about the 2 passes.
Yes to that, but I don't think that's who he is today. I think he's grown as a quarterback. He's not top tier, but he's a solid QB that, like you said, in the right situation, But
that's what I just said. And he's good for Detroit. If you ask him to go to another team and he has to carry the team on his back, I think he'll end up back in trouble again.
And I hear you, Brandon, but this is the thing. QBs who carry the teams on their backs are elite QBs. Really good QBs have a good defense, run game, you name it, true WR1s. So I think Jared Goff can thrive in other systems, maybe not every system, but when Dan Campbell said that about good enough for Detroit, like, I was like, he shouldn't have said that because Jared Goff can play, man. I mean, he's been Sean McVay. Look at Sean McVay now. You know,
he ain't a scrub. He's not a scrub.
Yeah, man. Like
Steve,
Jared Goff, he can play, man. When he was
with the Rams, the only thing they were doing was play action screen. Todd Gurley was making everything happen and with the Rams.
But let me finish. Now Jared Goff is in a system where he has cap on his team to where they can pay good players, bring veterans in. It's desirable to play there. A WR1, 2. He has he's had tight ends. He has a good defense. A young core. So it's like, man, quarterbacks need pieces in place to help them succeed.
No, I understand that, but he has stuff in place to succeed with the Rams. But what I'm saying is, Todd Gurley carried that offense. Okay. Todd Gurley carried that offense.
Jeff Fisher.
You can say.
No, I'm not talking about Jeff Fisher. I'm talking about under Sean McVay when they went to the Super Bowl. Under Sean McVay. They go back and watch the film, Steve. Go back and watch the film. Play action screen. Listen to it. Play action screen to Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley would get all those yards. Would get all that yards after the catch. He would get all that yards after the catch.
Brandon.
Huh?
It's irrelevant to today. It's irrelevant for Detroit because in the playoff run they had, Jared Goff proved that's why he got that money. He proved that if I need Jared Goff to make a play, if I need him to make a throw, he is capable. He showed flashes of that in LA, but what McVay needed for his offense was something special, which is Matt Stafford's arm talent. There ain't a lot of elite QBs, but there are a lot of good ones, and he is a good one. And for
what
Detroit
he wasn't good,
but you're crucifying him like he's trash. And I'm like, no, he was warranted for what
I'm telling you what happened. I'm telling you what happened with the Rams. One,
but that was how long ago? That was how long ago, Brandon? He's not with the Rams. If he was still with the Rams, that argument would still be relevant. He's not with the Rams. That's why they got rid of him, because it was not enough. Because Todd Gurley did carry that squad. That's why they got rid of him and sent them to the abyss, where he turned his career around and proved that if need be, if I need him to make a play, he can make a play. That's what I'm saying. What you're saying is not wrong. It's just not relevant for the Jared Goff of Detroit. It's not relevant for them because he basically reinvented himself.
Yeah, and if Jeff Fisher stayed employed with the Rams, Jared Goff he might not have had the shot to show what he can really do with another team. That's just what I think. But he's doing his thing in Detroit, man. He really is. He really is.
Like we have to let that Jared Goff go. There were too many factors in regards to that version. We got to let that go. If he had looked the same in Detroit as he did with the Rams, showing like them limited moments like that, more often than not, then I would say, okay, you got something there. But the maturity of him and what he's able to do now, how he's excelled for Detroit, that I think Dan Campbell said it right. For what Detroit needed was ideal.
And I agree.
That's a good way to look at it.
I agree. I said that in my statement. Y'all missed that part. I said I agree that he's perfect for Detroit. All I'm saying is I feel like if he goes somewhere else, I just don't think he'll be as successve.
He can't be. Let's let Nate talk about his quarterback.
So okay, here's what I think on it, because I will admit that I've got moments when the ghost of Jared Goff passed, you see a little flash of it and you're like, oh no, what if it all falls down? Because he'll be playing well. The thing is, he does seem to have the ability to now. I think he knows that the head coach, the GM, they have confidence in him, and that gives him the confidence to know that he doesn't have, he doesn't have to worry about Hendon Hooker like that. That's not anything that he has to worry about. He just needs to worry about putting that play behind him and doing the right thing. But he still will go out there and under pressure just make a basketball pass to nobody, if he gets real flustered. So, but with that, like, I do get a little bit nervous because Ben Johnson, our offensive coordinator, was on a lot of hot lists for head coaching vacancies. And I do worry that when we get that new OC, maybe next year, that maybe he doesn't look quite as shiny as he does now. And we just extended him for, I think it was 4 years. So.
Well, I'm gonna cut in right here because I really enjoyed the Marionette show. But on several medium platforms, people are doing their top quarterbacks, and I don't agree with a lot of them, but in most of them, Jared Goff is listed in the in the pretty much the top third. Yeah, he's in the top third of the league, if not the top half. He's ahead of some people that I don't think he should be ahead of. But the statement that Campbell made, he's good enough for Detroit, I 100% agree with that, because for what Detroit does, he's just right. Yep. And let's not forget, it wasn't Jared Goff's fault that the Lions lost the NFC Championship. It was not his fault. If Dan Campbell wasn't so emotional and trigger happy with the wrong things, then we'd be talking about the Lions playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl instead of the Niners playing the Chiefs.
That drive, I think it was like when it was like 6 or 7 minutes left in the game. That drive that Jared Goff had should have won the game.
Yeah,
there were some. I think you can put it 50% on Dan Campbell and his just, whatever you want to call it, high testosterone way of coaching, where he's just going for it no matter what. You put 50% on that, 50% on execution, because at the end of the day, you have to execute, and you can't fumble, you can't drop passes that hit you in the hands. And there were a couple of those in that stretch too. So, as a coach, you got to know where your players' heads are at, but he inherently trusts these players and puts them in the position to succeed. They drop the ball, that's on them. So,
well, I tell you what, Dan Campbell's decision making has really, really. Now, let me be clear. As a 49ers fan, I'm glad he made those horrible decisions. But
they're polarizing.
But his decision making is holding this team back. They have everything they need to not only be the front runner for this division, but for the conference. Yeah. So I mean, it's not just the NFC Championship game that we're talking about here. Do you remember the Cowboys game?
I was surprised. I was surprised. I was like, we're cooked. I'm like,
yeah, they had that game in their hands. And Nate, I empathize with you on your coach's bad decision, because I too. Me too.
He knows, as do I.
Coach is making bad decisions late in games when they got the game in hand. So I completely empathize with you. We part of the Me Too movement, okay? When it comes to fans and coaches.
This podcast does not reflect the opinions of every person on here. I just want to say
it's a different Me Too. It's like, it's Me Too TW.
Remember, the podcast does not agree with everyone's personal
opinion.
I too. Yes, I understand. So it was literally like Dan Campbell passed the torch to Kyle Shanahan. He's like, okay, I made dumb decisions to lose this game. Here you go. Next game, you got to do it now. So I get it. And that's the only, if I had any knock on Detroit right now, it's the decisions that Dan Campbell makes in big games that really concern me. You know, and other than that, I mean, you're definitely the class of the division, but those decisions.
I think it's tough. What do you think about this? Dan Campbell, when he talks, the way he looks, does not present himself like the most intelligent coach in the NFL. But a lot of what he says, when you dig through sort of the meatheadedness of it, he's not wrong. And I think
Right.
I'm probably more of a Dan Campbell defender than the average Lions fan, because as you win and lose with those situations, the same way that you will lose games in moments with those decisions.
Yeah.
We've won just as many or more because of those aggressive decisions throughout the season. So,
Yep.
like we've iced games throwing 10-yard passes to Penei Sewell, reporting eligible. We won the game against the Dallas Cowboys throwing to Taylor Decker, only to have some confusion with the referees. So those gutsy calls, I think you take the good with the bad. So that's where I'm at as a fan with it, and I'll probably live to regret that, but that's sort of where I'm at heading into this season.
Yeah, I've seen even Jason Garrett not be aggressive 1 week.
Oof, I don't.
Overly aggressive.
Oh God.
And I think Dan Campbell, he's passionate. I think it's different for him. I mean, you guys became really successful maybe sooner than he maybe thought. So it's kind of with that comes with like emotions, experience, being in the biggest games out there. It could be some growing pains. When it comes to that,
you'd triggered Brandon's PTSD.
He was never even my coach, and I cringed a little bit when you said his name.
You didn't trigger that man PTSD.
The point was to say, coaches, they overly correct or things like that. So, but
I have no idea, yo, I may have to step off.
That was a collective. I mean, it was just like you had ate some bad seafood or something.
Golly, Steve.
Oh man, you bringing up bad memories, man.
It's history, man. It's history, man. Memories is history. It's facts.
That's bad facts.
Oh man, that was funny. That was funny. So okay. So we can't make it the Detroit Lions show tonight, even though because the only a Detroit Lions fan had the guts to come on the show and talk about his team tonight, because it was an open call.
Mm-hmm.
With no Minnesota fans, no Bears fans, no Packers fans. You didn't step up to the plate. But thank you, Nate, for being on the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, just like last season, the Lions were the only ones to step up. So.
Strange.
That's them fighting words.
Wow. Okay.
Strange.
And guess what? There's nobody here from your division to.
I know. I can be real brave when I've got no one to give feedback. That's all right.
But the Packers stepped up though.
So that's
they did. I mean, they did.
That's where I'm going next.
Hey guys,
they stepped up.
The Green Bay Packers.
Let's talk about these other teams.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. The Green Bay Packers. I think they surprised everyone this season,
especially towards the end.
Because they didn't know. We really didn't know, and I think that's what we said last year. We said we don't know what Jordan Love is. We don't know what Jordan Love is. We don't know what he's gonna be, and he stepped up to the plate. And now you have people who are going a little bit haywire with it now. They're calling Jordan Love like a top tier quarterback, and I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. let's chill. He played really well this season.
Yeah.
Could he get better in that system? Absolutely. But let's slow down. Because they got Jordan Love ranked ahead of quarterbacks that beat him on a lot of these quarterback countdowns, and I'm just like, hold on, slow your roll, homie. But I think this young receiving core that they have in Green Bay is special.
Yep.
I think they have a really good coach. I think he's coming into his own because he started off kind of rough. Let's be real.
This season he did.
Yeah, so he's starting to come into his own. The loss of Aaron Jones kind of concerns me. But
well, let me ask you a question, Eric, about that. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
They replaced him with Josh Jacobs. Is that a huge loss, or a huge transition, or?
I don't think it will be. That's what I was getting.
Lateral move, or maybe better.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I was getting to. I said, that concerns me because Aaron Jones has been there in that system for so long. But because that's why I was coming with a but after that. Josh Jacobs. Hey man, he's pretty solid. And he's kind of has experience in similar, in similar offenses, and he's just an explosive back. And I think he kind of, and this is just my opinion, but I think he kind of got held back a little bit in Las Vegas.
Of course he did.
Yeah, so I think he can really. We might see some of the best of Josh Jacobs this coming season in Green Bay. I really think so if they use him correctly.
Let me ask you that: is Josh Jacobs as explosive as Aaron Jones? Like, because when I would watch Aaron Jones, every time he touched the ball, I was nervous. Like, you could get him the ball in space, with the screen game. Does Jacobs have that much ability in the passing game?
Yes,
I would think so. I would think so.
I do.
Way better back.
He was like that in college.
Yeah.
The Raiders, they didn't utilize him.
They didn't.
Exactly.
The Raiders' offense was unfortunately held back way more than it should have been when they had Carr, Jacobs. You traded for Devontae Adams. You had Hunter Renfrow. They did not live up to expectations.
Well, when you have Jeff Fisher Jr., aka Josh McDaniels, you don't.
Well, that too. Well, that too, and see, I know I'm going off a tangent. That's the NFL. Keep hiring coaches who OCs for Hall of Fame quarterbacks, but that's another topic. The offense, and we've had that discussion on Marco Polo, but that offense really did not thrive the way it should have. That offense should easily at least be a top half offense, if not better. So Josh Jacobs in Green Bay should thrive. My only concern, I don't know who Green Bay's left tackle is. That's going to be my biggest concern this year. It's the left tackle position. David Bakhtiari is not there anymore.
Yeah, he's going right.
I don't think he's retired.
Was their first round draft pick a tackle?
So they signed Andre Dillard, who's a former first round bust of Philadelphia, and I think they did draft a tackle. So Dillard does not need to be the starter, because if he's the starter, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, if he's the starter, then Jordan Love is not gonna have the protection he needs. I would go with that rookie if they did draft a rookie.
Yeah, I'd assume the rookie is the plan.
For Arizona,
you got to go with him. You got to go with him.
I'm gonna assume, because they drafted the rookie and all that, I'm gonna assume that they're probably gonna put him in a lot more bootlegs and RPOs than last year. Really utilize his athleticism in order to keep him out of trouble.
That's a good idea.
With the pocket, because you have to.
You do.
And again, that's what having Josh Jacobs again is a good commodity, because you have to. You're going to see, like, you're going to be shocked of like how good his hands actually are in the backfield catching the ball, and they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know he had all that skill set." But that left tackle position is definitely going to be a concern for Green Bay.
So they had 11 draft picks. They drafted 3 offensive tackles.
3 offensive tackles. Wow.
Three.
So they're saying one of them
so
They're
basically,
like, one of these jokers got to work.
They were definitely trying to rebuild that offensive line. Which
And they have a
you
good
need
front
to.
office. They know what they're doing. They have a good front office.
That's what you need to do. And you know what though? They are so young. They just need to build and gel together, like Eric said, because you got this young quarterback in Jordan Love, who just finished starting his second season, but has been in the league for 4 or 5 seasons now. You got Josh Jacobs, who's in his prime. You got a young core wide receiver. You drafted 3 offensive tackles. One of them got work at left tackle, and one of them probably got work at right tackle. I mean, those guys grow. They could.
Well,
I don't know how much of a threat they're going to be to Detroit, and I don't know what their defense look like. They lost somebody, but gained somebody.
I should have studied up. If I knew I was the only representative, I would have studied up a little more.
They lost Darnell Savage.
My bad, Nate.
They did lose Darnell Savage. Who's good? Who's real good in run support, but I don't think he was much of a ball hawk anyway. So it's a loss, but not like a huge loss.
I think, honestly, if we want to talk about growing pains, and I think it's a great segue. Young teams that have to come into their own before they can actually start saying some stuff. Okay, had a fantastic offseason. And we're talking about the Chicago Bears here. They had a fantastic offseason. You know, they went and got Caleb Williams and hopefully some fingernail polish remover. And then they they bolstered the roster with some more players from the outside, and then they drafted really well, Roma Dunze. Mm-hmm. There's talent over there for sure. But come on, Twan. You know, you saw him at that game. Come on, man. I don't want to go there.
Keep going.
Okay. All right. Because y'all know. But they have growing pains. They're gonna have growing pains. I think that they're not quite ready for prime time. Are they gonna be better than last year? Yeah. I believe so. But I think if we want to talk, because you were talking about Brandon, you were saying, you know, they're young, but the Green Bay Packers, the core of their roster is a playoff team. You know,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Chicago doesn't have that.
Chicago's young at quarterback, and one of the receivers is young. Now they do have DJ Moore, who they traded for last offseason, and then they brought in
Keenan Allen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One of my favorite wide receivers. I hated seeing that he was going to Chicago.
Keenan Allen's in Chicago. So hopefully, at least with Moore and Allen, and if Allen can stay healthy, Lord Jesus, hopefully they can help with the development of Roma Dunze and be those 2 veteran receivers that can really help Caleb Williams in different crucial situations, because those 3rd and 7s and those red zone situations, he's going to really have to look at those 2 guys to make plays. Keenan Allen needs to be what Plaxico Burress was for Eli Manning on that Super Bowl run in 2007, where it's 3rd and 7. I'm gonna run a slant. Let me catch that football, and let's keep the chains moving.
That's gonna be wrong. That's gonna be wrong job.
That's a tall order. Eli Manning came from a veteran professional family of football. Caleb, we don't know what he is.
No. I'm not saying Caleb is supposed to be Eli. I'm saying Keenan Allen needs to be that veteran receiver to keep those chains moving and be the guy to look for, because he's a veteran receiver. He's been in the league for a while. I was not saying Caleb is Eli Manning and they got the same background. Never said that.
No, I think what I'm saying is Caleb has to show maturity and professionalism in every aspect to lead a team to be competitive.
Oh, we talked about that.
And we got to say it again, because we know that was coming with the Manning family. Caleb, listen, it's a young core with superstar names. But at the end of the day, you got to go week in, week out, practices, and he has to show he has the mental fortitude to be stoic, man, and leading his team offensively. If he makes a mistake, things like that. We've had this conversation, so we'll see what happens. But I don't expect much from the Bears, to be completely honest.
No,
well, I don't either.
I expect them to be better, but I'm not. They're not finna challenge for this division, and I'm finna definitely not the conference.
No.
So let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings, who now has not just the highest paid receiver in the NFL, but the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL at this point. Kurt, I can throw for a bunch of yards but do nothing in the playoffs. Cousins is now gone. They've drafted J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan.
Mhm.
They've added Aaron Jones. That's nice. Dallas Turner, the pass rusher, to, I guess, replace the production of Danielle Hunter. But what do you guys think? I mean, will McCarthy be ready to start, or will they have to go to Sam Darnold route at first?
Well, that's probably the direction they're going to have to go. Like I said earlier in the show, I think Sam Darnold is a downgrade from Kirk Cousins. I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I said, Kirk Cousins was not a world beater, but you're going to add. And like I said, Kevin O'Connell, because he was under Sean McVay with the Rams, and he likes to line up Justin Jefferson in the slot and give him a lot of targets. But Sam Darnold, if Sam Darnold starts, he starts no more than 7 games maximum. No more than 7 games. I think after that, almost halfway through the season, we get to McCarthy.
I can see that.
Y'all know what I think happened?
Okay.
This is what I think happened. This is my honest opinion.
Okay.
That was a long, dramatic pause, too.
What I think happened was they got Sam Darnold when they let Kirk Cousins walk out the door. They got Sam Darnold because I think they were eyeing Michael Penix Jr. And when the Falcons did what they did, they said, "Oh shoot, who else? Who we gotta get?" And who did? No, we don't know if it's to be true. But who everybody said was probably most pro-ready.
You're right.
To go into a system and just operate the system. Other than Michael Penix, they said was J.J. McCaffrey.
Yeah.
So I think they were like, let's just grab him. But I think the idea was for Michael Penix Jr. to be a Minnesota Viking and starting over Sam Darnold. I think that was the original plan.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. So all right. So we did a brief overview of each team, and we got about maybe 20 more minutes left in our show. Now it's time for us to make our picks. Now this is how we do it, because we always give the tip of the cap to our guests first. Okay. So what we do is, Nate, we're gonna start. You pick your 4th place team in the division, and you explain why. Then we each go around and do our 4th place, and then 3rd, then 2nd, then 1st. But before we start, last year, this is one of the few divisions where we had a consensus, the 4 of us.
Okay.
And we all picked the Detroit Lions to win the division.
Really?
Yeah, we did.
All 4 of us. Yeah. All 4 of us did. Because me, I'm going to tell you now, Nate, me and Brandon, we had been on the Detroit Lions for like a couple of years. Like, they coming. Me and Brandon was like, they coming. And everybody's like, no. So Brandon's like, no, you better watch them. They coming.
No, so Nate, to piggyback off of that, that year when y'all played the AFC North and you tied Pittsburgh and you lost to Baltimore off of that 67-yard field goal, that's when we jumped. I know. I'm sorry. But hey,
record-setting field goal.
Yeah. But that's when Eric and I first got on Detroit Lions bandwagon. We was like, look, we're on the bandwagon now. We ain't getting off until we feel like we should get off. But we kept riding that bandwagon, and we was like, anybody else that want to get on this bandwagon train, thinking that they're going to continue to get better and win the division, you better jump on now.
I'm gonna just say, hey, Brandon, do this.
Hey,
do this.
Hey,
Cause me and Brandon were the few people.
Well, let me get my caveat. You're right. But let me get my caveat.
Hey, man.
I expected the Vikings to challenge the Lions. Didn't expect obviously Kirk Cousins could have been career injury. So okay, I was like, okay. I mean, if he's healthy, which is all our predictions are based off of, I said, okay. It could be interchangeable. I think I said that.
I'm with you, Steve. If Kirk Cousins was healthy, I'm not saying they would have won the division, but they would have contended with Detroit for that division if Kirk Cousins stayed healthy.
And Detroit would have still won it.
Okay.
I think we still would have won it, but it'd have looked a lot different.
But y'all made the right choice, because this is one of the few divisions, because we very rarely agree on everything. But this is one of the few divisions where we all agreed that Detroit would win a division last year. Now, here's where it gets squirrely, okay? So, the 4th place team, I picked Chicago. Brandon, Tristan, and Steve picked Green Bay. And we all know that Green Bay, they got in the playoffs. The 3rd place team, I picked Green Bay. And Brandon, Tristan, and Steve picked Minnesota. And then for the 2nd place team, I picked Minnesota. And Brandon, Tristan, and Steve picked Chicago for the 2nd place team last year. Because I keep receipts. I keep receipts. But it was funny how that fell. But we got the division winner correct. Everything
we did get
squirrely as all get out. But we knew that Detroit was going to win that division. All right, so Nate, 4th place team in the NFC North.
All right. So I'm gonna go Minnesota.
Okay.
I think that the drop off at quarterback is too substantial. We saw what they looked like last year with subpar quarterback play. If I had to guess, I would say they're going to try to play Sam Darnold as long as they can to give McCarthy time to get ready, because he's young. I don't think he's a plug and play ready NFL quarterback at this point. And I think Sam Darnold's going to be so bad that by the bye week, there's going to be pressure to put him in against Detroit week 7 coming off the bye. So he might get thrown to the Wolves early. And I just don't think that's going to pan out very well. So I think Minnesota, despite, a aggressive and blitz heavy defense, Aaron Jones being a weapon, having multiple receiving threats with TJ Hawkinson coming back, obviously Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. I still think the quarterback play is going to be what drags him down into 4th place.
That's feasible. I too have Minnesota in last place for all of the reasons that you mentioned. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know very many Minnesota Vikings fans, but from what I hear, they're very nice people. They're very cordial. I think that mood is going to change if they start Sam Darnold in first.
They do that cool skull thing.
Yeah. I think that's going to change after watching Sam Darnold start for them a few games. They're going to be like, they're going to turn into Philadelphia Eagle fans.
Nah, man.
Vikings
fans are really nice, man.
Nobody.
I hear you.
No, nobody's going to turn on to an Eagles fan.
They're very nice.
They're going to
be the home game there.
Sam Darnold has the ability to turn the nicest people.
No.
Vikings fan. I'm going to show respect. They're very nice.
There's no such thing. No. Eagles fans are in a class by themselves. Don't do that, Eric.
Okay, well, I'm just using that as an example. I'm gonna say these people
get a different example.
They not
been in the building against us.
Get a different example.
If there's a time to see hate, I would have seen it.
They're going to change their perspective.
They're nice
after watching. That's all I'm saying is they're going to change their perspective after watching Sam Darnold start a few games.
Look, I agree with you, but they ain't gonna be Eagles fans.
Okay, we cleared that up. They're not Eagles fans, but that temperament's gonna change a little bit.
Of course it is.
After watching him play. So I'm just saying. But I also have Minnesota as my fourth place team for those reasons. Because Jay Jeter got all that money. You thought Jay Jeter was cussing with Kirk Cousins. You let Sam Darnold get out there. You gonna hear some new cuss words. And they better not mic up. I'm just saying they better not mic up Justin Jefferson. That's all I'm saying. Don't mic him up. While Darnold starting. So yeah, I have Vikings as number 4. Till McCarthy starts, if he can save the season, I don't know. Because they're gonna give Darnold a hook pretty early. All right. Tristan. Oh, he's not okay. Steve.
So number 4, I have the Bears.
The Bears.
And this is why. So leadership, man. The front office has never been able to get it done. I'm looking at the young cast they have in there. They have some veterans too, but I don't trust Caleb Williams. I feel like they're going to self-destruct as an organization internally and have discord throughout the season with practices, games, emotions, bad press conferences, divas from the true colors. They've done it already. They've done it in this offseason. They have some talent, but I don't see them. I see them, you know, my phrase, interchangeable with third place, which I have. I have the Vikings. Not enough talent. That's simple. So Bears 4th.
Yeah. Okay.
Vikings
so you got a
3rd.
Bears 4. Okay. Hold on. Hold your thought. Don't go to your 3rd yet. Brandon, who's your 4th?
Man, my number 3, number 4 can probably be written down in pencil, man. Both of y'all brought up good points. You really do got you really do got to look at the quarterback position for both teams, because you're looking at Sam Darnold / JJ McCarthy versus Caleb Williams, man. Chicago has more personnel wise. Gun
to your head. Clock ticking.
God, just give me Chicago at 4, man. But I got that in pencil, man. But I'm gonna say Chicago 4.
All right.
And you already know who my 3. I already gave you my 3, so you might as well just write that down.
And let me just add this E to my 4th. You know how I feel about most Pac-10 now, Pac-12, Pac-8, whatever. Pac-12 quarterbacks.
Whatever, it's Pac something. It's they packing and they standing and they I don't know.
Pacific Atlantic Conference.
Yeah, whatever number after that. Yeah.
You know how I feel about them, man. So they just had Justin Fields. That not working out is not a personal problem with him. So, all right, let's go.
Oh, and one more thing that I just thought about. Caleb Williams is not used to playing in cold weather, man. He's going to be outside. Now, of course, it's not always
the man from the DMV.
But it's going to be. But you're going to be outside in Chicago. You're going to be outside in Green Bay.
Have you seen Gonzaga Stadium? You can play in bad weather.
There's a difference between Chicago cold and DC cold. Come on, Tristan.
That is true. You go to Soldier. You been a Soldier before, Tristan?
Yeah,
Soldier
before.
No, Tristan, stop.
Soldier different than I don't know.
There's a difference between Chicago cold and DC cold. There's a difference between Green Bay cold, the frozen tundra, and DC cold. Come on, man.
Y'all acting like this man is from California.
I didn't say he was, but
you're right.
Tristan, you know full well that DC gets cold, okay? I was born and raised here. You know that. But I'm telling you, it's a difference between Chicago cold, off of them Great Lakes, and DC cold.
But I'm saying you're saying he ain't used to playing in cold. He's not gonna struggle in the cold weather because he's
gonna struggle in that Chicago cold weather.
I think
he struggles mentally and emotionally. I think forget the weather.
Thank you, Steve.
If Jared Goff was able to be okay in Detroit,
Jared Goff is in a dome for 8 games.
If Jared Goff
Tristan's
was okay,
saying he played in the Pac he's from California. He played in
Heat.
But he's in the dome for half the season.
His worst games are in weather, but we play 15 indoors this year, so we're all good.
What?
15 games indoors in the regular season.
I don't think weather is going to be the thing for Caleb's struggles. That's my whole thing. I just don't think weather is going to be the factor.
I agree. That's not going to be the determining factor. It's going to be his maturity and his ability to lead. That's going to be the thing.
But for my picks, I'm in the same boat with Brandon as far as it could be penciled. But I'm gonna initially pencil in, and I'm gonna say Vikings 4. And the only reason why I'm gonna say Vikings 4 is because if I just put the Bears and the Vikings side by side, obviously I'm already telling you what my 3 is. If I'm putting the Bears and the Vikings side by side, I like the Bears' weapons. Understand their defense was not bad last season. They had one of the better defenses in the league. Talking about Chicago,
yeah, definitely.
And then supposedly on paper have improved offensively. I also put and then even though Vikings got Dallas Turner, you got Harrison Smith that's aging. Yep. That defense is aging. I would put, if I had to pick out of the 3 QBs that we're going to possibly see between Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, and Sam Darnold, I'm picking Caleb. So because of those factors is why I would have the Vikings last.
Okay.
All right.
So you got the Vikings last versus the Bears last.
Yes.
But just like me, you saying you put it in pencil because it can go either way.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay. So I'm going to put a little like asterisk next to that. So number 3, Nate, who's your number 3 team?
All right. I kind of wanted to do something splashy with the number 3 and pick a surprise team, but I think honestly it comes down to this is the coach who has the most to prove. I put Chicago at 3. Of the coaches in the division, I think he's the most unproven. Mm-hmm. Working with a rookie quarterback, trusting your run game to DeAndre Swift, the Lions cast off, Eagles cast off. Like mm-hmm. he can show some things, but I don't know that's gonna be what sustains, helps support, that passing game. So I'm gonna go with the Bears. Their defense came on last year. Honestly, they're the wild card to me. They're the wild card. If you told me that they finished second, I'm not surprised. You flash forward in the future and tell me they end up winning the division and Caleb Williams is the second coming of Patrick Mahomes. I'd be surprised, but I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. But I still put them at 3.
Okay. So I too have the Chicago Bears.
Smart man.
At number 3, I have same reasons that you have. I don't really trust. Caleb Williams, a rookie out there. And I'm gonna tell you what. And I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking about the temperament of the fan base. I don't know if he's mentally tough enough to handle the temperament of Chicago fans.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think that's what you said that, Steve, earlier. I was like, thank you, Steve. Thank you. Because that was the point I was going to make. I don't know if he can handle it because that's a high-pressure franchise to play for. Like,
it really is.
Chicago has had just outside of probably Jim McMahon, they have had unwiped ass at quarterback for decades.
Listen, man.
Jay Cutler is the best thing they had recently.
Thank you. Nate, this is the thing, E, and I'm going to let you finish. When I watched the theatrics of the draft and the fake PR stuff, the hugs, the little bear cross stuff, I'm like, I know fraudulent when I see it, man. I just do.
Even his interview on the pivot,
I know fraud when I see it. I'm like,
he's out there leading Green Bay Sucks chants early where everyone is still, warm and fuzzy on him.
I can see right through it, man. I'm like, I see what they're about. My bad. Keep going, E. My bad. I'm just.
Yeah.
No, you're good. All I was saying is that he's the best quarterback probably in franchise history. I mean, the closest thing
wise
that I've seen, Jay Cutler showed flashes, but Jay Cutler was, still hot and cold.
He didn't care. Yeah, he didn't care.
Yeah.
Smoking Joe.
And I mean, to be honest, we gotta just call it, man. It's a bad building to be in as a quarterback. They just had Justin Fields, you guys.
I don't think the head coach should have stayed.
It's a bad building, man.
I thought the head coach should have been fired. I was a little surprised.
Yeah.
But we hijacked you, Eric. My bad. Go ahead.
Okay, so now I'm ready to move on. Brandon, number 3. You said the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Steve, you said the Minnesota Vikings for number 3.
Yep.
All right. Tristan, your number 3 would be the Bears, I'm assuming.
Yep, Chicago for the same. Only because I feel like the talent of Caleb Williams to me is better than JJ's and Sam Darnold's, and I feel like that's the only reason they're not at 4.
You know what?
Literally the only reason.
My debate is, and I hear you with the whole talent thing. To me, it's mental over talent, especially at quarterback.
Yeah.
It's mental over talent.
Yeah.
But go ahead. All right. So I guess we got everybody's number 3.
Yeah. So Nate is back to you, number 2.
All right. I say with some hesitancy, I'm gonna say the Packers. I'm gonna be a homer. I'm gonna say that the Packers once again finish as a wild card team. I think that this division is gonna just like eat each other alive.
Oh yeah, they're gonna beat the hell out of each other. Yeah,
it's gonna be the black and blue division for sure. So I don't know that the team that wins the division is going to have as good a record as they did last year. I think you could have Chicago and Green Bay with the same record, but a tiebreaker. Like I think it's going to be a bloodbath. But I think everyone was just a little too quick to think that everything is fixed in Green Bay and that Jordan Love is the answer. Receivers have flashed for them, but I don't. Maybe they were that amazing in the draft. Maybe they're able to pick up all these late round wide receivers 3 deep, and they're all starter caliber. But I also just think when it comes down to the trenches, I give the Lions the advantage. So I would say Green Bay at 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's where we part ways, Nate.
I thought so.
Yeah, and like everybody's talking about it, interchangeable at 3 and 4. I think 1 and 2 are interchangeable.
Wow.
But I have Detroit as my number 2. I still have them making the playoffs, but I have them as my number 2 team in this division, simply because of one thing and one thing only. I cannot trust Dan Campbell. I can't trust him. You have everything that you need to win the NFC on that team. Not the division, the conference in Detroit. You have everything except one thing, and that's a coach that can be stoic and non-emotional. And I think that's going to be a very slim margin. I think that's the margin of difference between Green Bay and Detroit. Is I think when the rubber meets the road, I think their coach is going to make the right decisions. If Green Bay's coach is in the same situations that Dan Campbell's in, he's going to make the right calls on those. So that's the only reason. I cannot trust Dan Campbell. He got to show me that I can trust him. Then I'm going to really be afraid.
My bad. Is it my turn yet?
No, I already said my pick is Detroit.
I got some. So, okay. I got to say this, man. So Dan Campbell, he's a passionate coach. He has great personnel to where no coach is perfect. So if mistakes are made, your personnel can make up for it. I got to revisit this moment, man. Packers versus Cowboys. You may not agree, E. Brandon might. Tristan might. How we got throttled was an inside job, man. Okay. So us losing that game, I think was Dan Quinn being bitter that he wasn't being named the head coach because he won 12 games that year. So I don't want Green Bay's success to be based off of, them killing us the right way. It was stuff that you wouldn't do if you were a coach. Like there's, and I gotta say, there's no way you're gonna put 3 down linemen against 22-21 package.
Against 13 package.
13, sorry.
3 tight ends. You had 2 tight ends on Michael Parsons.
It was a coup. So I want people to realize what happened during that actual game, man. There's some stuff going on behind the scenes. But aside from that.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying about that game, Steve, but you're kind of putting everything based on what they did when they played Dallas, and I'm like, what about the Packers' success that they've had throughout the season?
No,
and then
no.
They almost beat the Niners like in the divisional round.
But they shouldn't have gotten there. That's my thing. Like Dan Campbell should have won 2 more games this past season that we're not mentioning.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that part.
Yeah,
but the fact is that he didn't because of the bad choices that he made.
Right, but regardless, his personnel is just way better than Green Bay's, man. Like it just is. Okay, they got a culture going on there, man. That's rocking right now. That's my only point.
So you have Green Bay as your number 2, Steve?
I do.
Okay. All right, Brandon.
Hold on, give me a second, because I'm banning this guy for being ignorant.
Okay, so number
So anyway, I'm good now. I'm good. Okay. My number 2, because somebody want to be ignorant in our comment section.
I invited some friends. Hopefully, it's not mine.
Is his name Paul Siv?
No, that doesn't sound familiar. All right, I'm good.
Okay, good. I
got people online.
Was that on the Facebook side?
No, it was on the YouTube side. So he gone.
I don't even see a Paul.
Do you think, B?
Anyway, I got Green Bay number 2. Look, Eric, I hear you regarding Dan Campbell. I just don't think it's going to be enough for them to lose the division, because I don't think Green Bay has enough to surpass Detroit. I got to see it again. I saw it once. Cool. I want to see it again, though, because Detroit has been on this train for a minute and of improving, and unless I see a collapse coming or collapse happening, Detroit's winning this division for a while, or until somebody gets that much better than Detroit. I think right now, the class of the conference is San Fran, Detroit, and then it kind of starts to fade off into another tier, which has Dallas in it, Green Bay in it. And if I'm missing, who am I missing?
Philly.
No,
Philly.
I'm dropping Philly. I'm dropping Philly to another tier below. But anyway, yeah. So right now, San Fran and Detroit to me until otherwise.
Okay, so Brandon, you're saying that you have Green Bay as your number 2 as well?
Yep.
All right, Tristan, number 2.
Number 2 is Green Bay.
Yeah,
I like the additions, of Josh Jacobs to that offense. But I didn't really see too much more that they did, and I feel like they're getting a little. I think Steve said it earlier. I think they're getting a little too much clout for the performance that they had in the playoffs, not realizing they still got some steps they need to go. So that's why I have them at number 2.
Okay.
Who do you have at number 2? I'm sorry.
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Okay.
Okay, so that means that I'm the lone wolf here. And again, I want to be clear. I think it could. That's one of those you got to pencil that number 1 in, because I still believe in Detroit. I just need Dan Campbell to show me that that I can trust him in big situations.
I understand.
Against big opponents. And I mean, he really, I respect the hell out of Detroit, but I did also lose a lot of respect from Detroit when in the conference championship game. I'm just like, okay, they got us. Damn, they got us. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson gonna be talking noise. Damn, they got us. And then the game kept going on. I was like, wait a minute. And then Brock Purdy started playing hero ball successfully, and it was like, oh, well, but hey, man, if they kicked this field goal, man, okay, he went for it. Holy crap. And I was just like, and it was more than once in the game that happened. This wasn't a fluke.
One could surmise that Dan Campbell bolstered the contract for Jared Goff because of his shortcomings.
Wait, say it again?
I said one could surmise that he bolstered Jared Goff's contract because of his mismanagement as a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You're right. Because had he made the right decisions in that conference championship, like we said before, we got the Detroit Lions playing the Kansas City Chiefs, who they beat week 1.
Yep.
So, hey, man, it's a much more interesting Super Bowl, honestly. So, you got Mahomes wanting to get revenge against, but the fact that Jared Goff got his team, another team, to a Super Bowl, he could have went to the negotiating table and say, hey, man, I got y'all. Y'all ain't never been.
And
I did something that ain't never been done in this franchise.
This wasn't the first week 1 that the Lions, no, they didn't beat the Chiefs week 121. They should have, but Swift dropped the football. But the thing is, the culture in the locker room, man, like the Lions players, they play tough for Dan Campbell, man.
I'm not surprised.
In the locker room, man.
I'm not surprised. The culture
in the playoffs is going to matter. In big games, prime time is going to matter, man. And I've never believed in the Bears locker room and leadership. I've just never believed in it, man.
No, I think it's okay to not believe in the Bears at this point. I think we're all on the same page with that.
They almost beat us twice last year, though. That does give me pause.
Their defense was good.
I think that defense was good. Yes, and let me be clear for those that's watching, because I got one of my boys watching right now. He's a huge Bears fan. He's commented a couple of times, but I just want to say that we're not taking a dump on the Bears. We're just being realistic about it. And it's like we all had the Bears down at the bottom. Does that mean that they're gonna stay down there? No, because if everything pans out like we think, like we hope it should, then this could be a really interesting division. But as of right now, 2024, 25, no. Unless Caleb Williams just does something that none of us are expecting him to do.
I think my goal to explain to viewers are Pac-12 quarterbacks throw 45 times a game. 45 times a game. They've always had major pass attempts. So these numbers coming from college to the pros can be deceitful. That's my only point of. I'm not mad at Caleb. He's from the DMV like me. Brandon Tristan. It's like, but these quarterbacks, the stats can be deceiving, man. That's all I'm saying.
And to me, it's not just the pass attempts. It's also the offenses that they are in. And it's not just Pac-12. It's some of these other high-profile schools too, where they have quarterbacks. Systems where wide receivers are 6-7 yards open.
Yeah,
because Alabama had that for quite a while.
Oklahoma,
yeah, especially. Oh my God, Oklahoma had that. Look.
But look
Caleb Williams was with who? Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley was just in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And
those receivers wide open.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not too many successful air raid quarterbacks in the NFL. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is a successful air raid quarterback, but I think that's more on Andy Reid than anything else, because Mahomes, under certain coaches, we're looking at something different.
Yeah, I think that I think that we kind of get, because the NFL has become more of a passing league now, that we think that if a quarterback is playing really well in an air raid type offense in college, that they're going to do well in NFL. Hey man, this is a different animal.
It is a different animal.
And you can't, just automatically make that assumption. And just going with the trend. And like you said with Pat Mahomes, Pat Mahomes is more the exception than the norm.
Thank you.
The norm is these guys don't do well in the NFL. And that's one of the things we're looking at with Caleb Williams. And you know what? And I hope he proves us wrong. Prove us wrong. But until then, it's like, hey man, that the part that you came from the Pac-12, that's a red flag for me. And Steve. And then also his overall temperament. It's like, is this guy gonna be able to handle the Chicago fan base?
But see, Eric, that's a conversation we had off air on Marco Polo. We said there were some things that gave us pause regarding Caleb Williams. Yeah. Trisha had mentioned something that when he didn't perform in the bowl game, and I think they won the bowl game, they were so excited that he wasn't there to play. And I was like, you're not excited for your quarterback to be playing in a bowl game with you? The guy who was starting the entire season?
They said it felt like a real team win. That spoke volumes to me.
See, that's a problem. And one of my colleagues said that he was crying for some reason. I forgot what the reason was, but he was crying. I'm like,
he broke a nail.
well, the thing is, if a lot of GMs, numbers don't lie, quote unquote, right? So a lot of GMs, they see a guy putting up 5,000 yards in college. Obviously, it's a big number that you want to draft, but it's like the stock market. If you're profiting this per day, it looks great, but you're not considering the market, the industry, pending lawsuits, things like there are different factors to where these box score scouts aren't digging into what's really happening. And so that's my only issue.
That's sad because and I'm gonna throw a quarterback that I bet you nobody even remembers. Timmy Chang put up so many numbers out Hawaii. Yeah. With their little high flying offense, and
that was run and shoot, wasn't it?
Yeah, run and shoot. Run and shoot offense. Any quarterback that came out and run and shoot never did anything either.
But go ahead, boy. My bad, Brandon. Go ahead.
Shoot. What was I gonna say? Yeah, Timmy Chang didn't do anything coming out of Hawaii. Now I lost my train of thought, but it just doesn't work though because, like I said, this offense has got wide receivers running scot-free open, man. They running scot-free open.
The only thing I will say, and this is my last thing, I know we got to wrap up the show. The only thing I will say, a caveat for him that might be a saving grace is that I do believe the skill, well, not even do believe, it's a fact. The skill weapons he has now are way better than what he had at USC. Top to bottom.
Yeah, and that is true. But Tristan, really, at the end of the day, and okay, I'm gonna make this comparison. Josh Allen, you still got to make those decisions in those crucial moments.
But I would say he's a little more polished. He's a little more polished than Josh Allen. Josh Allen was super raw.
Understandable. You still got to make those decisions in crucial moments. And what is that going to look like? And what it's going to look like when you're losing because you're so used to succeeding. Like I'm sure the private school you went to in DC was very successful. I'm sure, especially on the Lincoln Riley, you was successful. But when you start losing and those fans are coming down on you, they jumping down your throat. And you got people looking at you side eye. Now, how are you gonna handle it?
I think that's my biggest concern. My concern is not his skill, it's not his ability. My concern is when the team is struggling, and you're not looking like Superman out there, how are you gonna act afterwards, or how you gonna act the next week when you might have had a 3 interception game the previous week?
And Chicago's rough, man.
Chicago is rough.
They don't play, man. Like Chicago fans are tough,
that sports
man.
media, Philly, same level.
Yeah, they
New
gonna
York.
eat you alive.
New York.
Yep.
Yeah, they tough, man. So like,
Do you think-
are you going to handle all of this coming down on you when you, like Tristan said, when you have a 3 interception game? You know, are you gonna, hey, I'm gonna man up. I'm gonna go out here next week, and I'm gonna have a 102 passer rating or something, and win the game. So that's the question. But this has been great, guys.
Nate had a point.
Nate had a point. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. I was just gonna say, do you think that with Caleb Williams probably being the best quarterback they've had, as a prospect, does he get a longer leash with the media? Because even if he's struggling as a rookie, him struggling as a rookie is going to look better than Justin Fields. It's going to look better.
No.
Or does that amplify it because the expectations are higher?
It's amplified because half that fan base didn't want Justin Fields to be gone in the first place. They wanted Justin Fields to stay. So you're making the case of saying we got rid of Justin Fields because we got my favorite word, y'all, generational talent at quarterback. So if he struggles, it's going to be loud because
he's a lot of pressure. You're right.
Not to mention, before Justin Fields, you have Mitch Trubisky, who you drafted in the first round. So you go from Trubisky to Fields to now Caleb Williams. Plus we don't give quarterbacks time anymore like we used to.
Zero grade.
We don't give them time. Quarterbacks in the NFL have to be popcorn in a microwave.
And that organization will be crucified because if Caleb don't pan out, that means you have spent over a decade swinging and missing on top first-round talented QBs.
Yes, I said this. They had a history of drafting quarterbacks early and expecting them to achieve and be successful right away. They have no grade. They give no grace, and that's why I have them placed where I have them placed in my rankings.
They want instant gratification, basically, and that's not gonna fly with a quarterback that is not developing mentally, not just physically, but mentally. You go on social media right now, and they're just they all over the place showing these clips of Caleb Williams throwing these passes to Odunze and these other receivers, naked routes, mind you. He's running routes against air. Okay, he connecting. But what happens when that pass rush get in your face? And what happens when you throw that that interception and your own crowd starts booing you?
Eric, it's not just pass rush anymore. It's the way they playing defense and coverage. They rotating safeties like never before. They are rotating safeties like never before.
It's cover 3 look, and then that box safety rolls back into a four deep look, and you thought you had the doggone that post route, and you don't.
It's different these days. A lot of stuff is different, and he's going to have to be able to read all that, and that's why I said you got to be able to make that pass in crucial moments. And Tristan, that's why I said I give it to you on the talent, but the decision making, and that's the part I was making with Josh Allen. It's going to be that decision making. Josh Allen's never going to do anything for Buffalo because of his decision making.
Well, y'all, this has been a great show. We have gone an hour and 20 minutes. It's a little bit longer than we wanted to, but it was great. It was fantastic. So again, I'm going to say it again. If you would like to be a guest, because we are doing our division by division breakdown, we've done 3 divisions so far, and we're looking for some guests to be on the show to come talk about your team when we cover your division. And right now, we've only had a few people who were brave enough to come on the show, and you said we don't bite. So, but next week we'll be covering the AFC North. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, we already got a Steelers fan that's going to be coming on. We need Ravens fans. We need Cleveland fans. We need Cincinnati fans, because that should be a pretty interesting show. If you'd like to be a guest on our show to talk about any of those teams, hit us in the DMs on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. Let us know. Hey, I want to be on the show. We'll vet you and we'll bring you on. So, Brandon, I'm going to toss it to you because you're better with the platforms. So let everybody know what platforms we're on. Make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube more than anything, because we're trying to get that algorithm up. But Brandon, take it away.
So like he just said, we're on YouTube. So please hit that like button. I need to get back to saying this. Hit the like button, hit that thumbs up button, and share this stuff, please, on YouTube. Facebook, you can also hit the like button. You can also love it on Facebook as well. You can also share it as well. So please do. You can catch us on Twitter. Twitter, you can, and yes, I still call it Twitter. Twitter, you can retweet it, and yes, I'm gonna still say retweet it because yes, that's how I do. I don't care. And then you can also follow. We're also live on Twitch. Okay. You can follow us on TikTok. Haven't done a video in a while. But still on TikTok. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and IG. You can listen to us on Google's podcast if it still exists, but also Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
All right. So down at a complete angle, Steve, the vendor of the show. You already know. To the far this direction, the good man with the black hat, panel 316,
Texas Rattlesnake,
right here in the middle, the quarterback of the show, Trish TV, and I guess Nate down below,
Nate, my brother.
Hey, thanks for being on the show, man. Hey,
Appreciate you.
Hey,
thank you so much.
It's always good talking to you, man. I'm glad I met you at Steve's wedding. But y'all know who I am, the Wildcat quarterback of the show, and NFL Encyclopedia. And I just want to keep reminding people that Eric does miss Trent Baalke, okay? Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, man.
I hate it when he does that.